a look at you.
You're listening to the Jersey Tuck Podcast.
Hello out there, it is February 23rd, and you're listening to the Jersey Tuck Podcast. I'm here with Tyrell, Josh, Fred, Mitch, as per usual. Make sure if you haven't already done so, to subscribe on Spotify. We are there now. Follow on Twitch. We are there now. We're live right this very minute. And watch our videos on YouTube. And guess what? On YouTube, we have a bit of extra tasty bonus content this week, with the debut of our new series, which I'm going to, you know what? I'm just going to run the stinger too. I'm going to run the stinger right now.
Go ahead.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Ooh, crack that pack.
Crack that pack.
It is Crack That Pack, in which we crack various amounts of a variety of sports cards. Anything that we can get our hands on, we will crack that pack for you. It could be me, it could be Mitch, could be anyone on the pod. Anyone that manages to get their hands on a pack that they can crack.
Oh, crack that pack.
We got
I was expecting to come out of that.
That's my favorite part of it.
Yeah, it was kind of a last minute thing that we did up right before, but I gotta be honest, I wasn't expecting Mitch's cadence to fit into the beat of the music that well. It worked really well. I gotta apologize to anyone who did take a look at the video pod after the last couple of shows. We're still working out some kinks for audio consistency, but if you listen on Spotify, it should be a better experience overall. And I also just one other housekeeping thing right off the bat. It's breaking in the past hour or so that Tiger Woods was in a big crash, and he had to get the Jaws of Life to rescue him from his vehicle. It was apparently a one vehicle crash, so hopefully he's all right.
The best. I heard he got quite the bad leg injury or something like that.
Oh no, man!
Or a few of the reports.
And that's the thing. Any injury at all for a golfer can really mess you up, because it's all a persuasion. Yeah, precision in that swing.
He's had some pretty terrible injury luck.
Yeah,
he really has.
Apparently, he's having surgery on his legs. I honestly would go as far as saying, because as bad as the accident sounds, this might be the end of his golfing career.
Well, did you see the picture? The picture's pretty
I didn't
bad.
see the picture actually.
I didn't even see it.
Full rollover.
Yeah.
And listen, I don't want to be that guy, but I'm just gonna present this angle. He's had some off the course issues in his career, and I just hope it's not anything to do with DUIs or anything like that. Again, no one knows a thing. I could be judging way too much. I just hope it's not that.
We don't know anything right now as hearsay.
There could have been a little pet. There could have been a little dog or something. He's just like,
who knows?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't know.
Could be a bee in the car.
Yeah, there could have been.
Oh my god, that is legit.
Man,
I've been there.
Does the tiger destroy the bee? Tune in next week. National Geographic.
Yeah, we will have an answer.
All right, so we got a couple things to talk about this week. Got some hockey, got some basketball. That's mostly the sports that we're covering this week, as per usual. First, I want to bring up in just a little discussion in the theme of Crack Dat Pack. Sports cards has kind of blown up recently to a really annoying degree. For anyone that partook in any sort of way, It's really noticeable. I'm sure Mitch has noticed it. It's just really getting annoying how people are viewing these things as real money assets now. There's big influencers like Gary Vee who really, try to sell them as you get all these now and you're gonna be set for the future with these rookie card assets.
These are your retirement investment.
And he's actually selling it for exactly that, and it's ridiculous. And I don't know if you ever heard Gary Vee talk. He's fucking annoying. Like some of his stuff is cool, and he got some good content, but he's kind of annoying. I just want to get your thoughts, Mitch, first, because you partake in the hobby. I want to know if you've noticed it a lot in the NHL side of things. People hoarding up packs as soon as they're on the shelves. The whole scarcity of it. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, I mean, it's brutal. Now, COVID has taken a beating on the hobby as well. Release dates for certain lines of products have definitely been skewed. So that's been taking it, but just everything has gone up for some reason. I don't know if it's out of boredom and people pick the hobby up again during the whole COVID thing while they're home or not or whatnot, but the price and the products are all gone up immensely, and trying to get a hold on them is brutal. I remember even talking to one of the local hobby shop owners, and
shout out to Maverick Sports.
And for instance, the standard or the most kind of the common or casual and popular one for hockey series is Upper Deck Series 1 and 2. We got your, it'll be based on the hockey year. So this year's or last year's was 1920. This year's is 2021. So you always have the first half of the year is Upper Deck Series 1, 2021 Series 1 and 2021 Series 2. So Lafreniere and stuff like that. This is his big rookie year. He's the big chasing card and stuff like that and everything. But for some reason, and this is not even a crazy strong rookie crop this year.
No.
And it's the boxes are already $200+ just to get, and usually it's probably around 120. And so it's already up by $80. And he's even said that trying to get them in to get a hold of the product is brutal, and buying it from a seller standpoint is brutal, and it's almost not worth it. I don't know. So it's the whole hobby has gone insane, and even just getting your hands on some stuff, like you said, he's having trouble getting hands on it, and then when he gets it in, they go pretty quick. But even from a standard reseller or a retailer standpoint, you used to be able to go to Walmart and pick up a pack and pick up a nice hefty box.
Yep.
No problem. Every time I go to Walmart now, the whole thing is shelled.
Yeah.
It's
and
disgusting.
I don't know what's on the go. I don't know if people are just going hard into it, or what. I know one thing we dabbled on outside of this conversation wise is scalpers. I guess the best way to use it, people buying it and reselling it for double the money.
Mm-hmm. Taking advantage of a situation. I think economically now too, that's just kind of the world we live in. I think it's also the fact that everything is so accessible online. Even with Walmart, like you're saying, Mitch, it's not even people that just go in and get it. You can now just order it from your phone.
Yeah.
For curbside pickup or just pick up at Walmart. And not only just that, but now everyone is just, neck deep in hobbies because of COVID.
Yeah.
Everything cycles too, right? Think
exactly.
About it. Hockey cards go through a phase for a bit,
true.
and then it goes away. Think of Pokemon cards just made a comeback again.
Yeah,
they did.
That.
Yeah.
Well, not only that, is it because too recently there was a huge auction, right, for Wayne Gretzky's rookie card, which went for $1 million. So I think people read it on Twitter. Yeah. So people are oh shit, I should get back on this, or what hockey cards do I have?
It's like buying stocks at high price.
Exactly.
Right now. Yeah.
I was just gonna say that, Josh. It's literally like a stock market vibe. Connor McDavid's rookie year, that started off as a normal price product.
Mm-hmm.
Now literally everything that is 15, 16, no matter what the product is doubled in has doubled in its retail price. So it's what was probably, say, a $200 hobby box is now at least $400, $500 hobby box, because the potential of getting a Connor McDavid rookie in it.
Wow.
In it. Plus, it's a strong rookie class too, so there's some other names, but just Connor McDavid's price drives it up like crazy. So it's the same thing. And like, for instance, 1920 has a strong rookie crop, so all those prices have doubled now too. The cup is NHL's or Upper Deck's hockey big brand, big release. It's usually about a $500 box. You get about 6 cards in it, and so and it's like the big hunting things in it are they're like fixed stock cards, and they're rookie patch autos. So you'll get like a patch from I think it's usually game used jersey for the cup. A lot of times rookie cards, they're manufactured patches. Or game worn for like worn for photo shoots, but they'll be signed as well, plus other like cards and stuff like that. Usually it's around a $500, $600 product. This year for some reason it's $1,000 plus, and it's like sold out. It's sold out everywhere, and people are selling it for like $1,400-$1,500. And I was like, how do you even justify that?
With the online purchases too, like bots have been going rampant, just buying up everything. And you know what, Walmart. Everyone's wondering, like Walmart and like all the other big chains don't do anything. It makes them look great, you know.
Exactly.
Whether it's cards, whether it's PlayStations, you know, all this stuff. If someone is willing to buy up all your product, they got their money. And if someone's willing to take that secondary product and then buy it for, you know, in the case PS5, like $2,000, that just looks great for Sony and Walmart, you know. Like
Walmart doesn't care after they move it. Like, you know what I mean? Like they
can easily bring in some like anti-bot,
some kind of software, some kind of counter software.
Yeah, you know, like I am not a bot. You know, you don't go on Walmart and, you know, do the whole like pick the road or pick the streets. You know,
traffic lights.
Yeah, so
pictures have mountains.
It's kind of frustrating because, you know, everyone's like bots are a real issue and scalpers are a real issue, but no one really cares to do anything about it.
Two things I'll mention. One, I think it's only going to get worse because it's almost like stocks have become more pop culture now because of the whole GameStop thing. So it's only going to get worse.
AMC,
I lost $300 in GameStop.
So this is funny. We were talking about this. We were talking about this the first podcast, weren't we? And it was funny. You're like, I got the GameStop.
It's not about the money. It was never about the money. I just wanted to be part of it.
Hey, there you go. You're part of history.
And if it did go up, that's great. But now I'm just a long-term investor in GameStop. So everyone buy physical copies of your game.
And invest in action figures and all that game swag.
Blockbuster. That's the next one.
Blockbuster, bring it back.
Future. Yeah.
And like the whole scarcity of it. It really annoys me because it's at the point now. If you look at collecting cards in its inception, it was about, you know, finding players that you loved, your team, all-stars, stuff like that, and having a collection being like, this is fun. It's not about that at all now. At the highest level, it's about, you know, buying up tons of the releases and earning your money back. And sucks.
I would say too, Alex, like on the hobby side of it though, there's definitely a demographic of people that get a rush from just opening card packs.
Absolutely.
That's the huge part. Like for some people, that money doesn't even matter. Like that's what they're paying for. They want to
crack that back.
They want to crack that back.
That's what I do a lot of times. I love the nostalgia, and I think part of it is rooting for me as a kid playing Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, and all that. I love opening cards and stuff like that, and chasing that. So it's a big.
Sorry, Mitch. Even as a kid, like I remember cracking open a lot of Upper Deck hockey cards as well. Like hockey cards were a huge thing in the 90s, in the early 90s in Canada. It's fun.
Yeah, definitely.
But unfortunately, pieces of shit have taken it over. We might get back to one more card topic that I wanted to bring up, but I think we'll switch gears a little bit here now, and let's talk about the Panarin story, Josh. If you want to lead us into that.
Okay, so I'm assuming like my fellow hockey followers are probably familiar with this story, Mitch. I'm sure you are. But the I guess the political hit piece that came out on Panarin was like what, 2 days ago, and
like 2 days ago.
yeah, and it was essentially just like a news report out of Russia about the fact that I think in 2011, when Panarin was with one of the Russian teams, I can't remember the name of the team. I can't really pronounce half of them. But when he was with that team, when the players were out, there was allegations that he beat up a 18-year-old girl. And it's come out now, like even right after it, the New York Rangers have completely steadfast, like denied the allegations as well as Panarin. But also it's come out even more like swinging the other way that even whoever, like the person that came out with the piece in Russia is not the most trustworthy source. Yeah. And it seems now to be kind of a political thing because Panarin has been outspoken for Putin's opposition in the past year.
Yeah, something you don't do.
Exactly. So now Panarin has taken a leave of absence from the team, and there's definitely things going on in the background. Like it's not all public knowledge, but I'm sure like he's got the full support of the New York Rangers. But at the same time, I'm sure the guy's terrified, right? Because at this point, he's probably scared for his family in Russia and stuff like that, right? Like that's some crazy stuff.
Yeah, it said the Rangers said Monday that the 2019-20 Hart Trophy finalists will step away for an unspecified amount of time amid allegations in Russia of an assault in 2011 that players vehemently denies.
Oh yeah,
just like vehemently. I don't know what that word is.
I would be so scared to step foot back in Russia if I were him again.
Oh yeah.
I don't think he has any intention. Yeah, I don't think he has any intention of going back.
No, well, the thing is, and I think the big issue is maybe why he's stepping back is one, the person saying it, I can't remember his name, but I'm pretty sure
Nazarov.
Yeah, he's an ex-play. I don't know if he played with him or he coached Panarin.
No, he coached Panarin. Yeah, on that team.
He has a sketchy history. One, he's an avid Putin supporter, but I think he's pretty sure there's allegations against him of beating players and all this other stuff like that and everything like that. So he has a really sketchy background. He's not the most trustworthy source.
Yeah.
But I've heard too. Russia. Yeah, it's a very Russian story actually. I've heard people kind of speculate now with a part of the reason why Panarin might be stepping away is just to try to figure it out is because a bit more fear for his family.
Yeah, that's what I think it is.
Because he probably has family over in Russia, and I mean, I'm not gonna say one thing or the other, especially where I've never been over to Russia and had much experience over Russia. But I mean, if the mob mentality kind of thing like that, if you want to get to one person or get to a single person, you go to their family kind of thing like that, or you get to them through their family. So
we don't have to beat around the bush and and not acknowledge the fact that tactic has been used within Russian politics before. Like it's well documented.
So he's been documented as showing his support for Alexei Navalny, opposition of Vladimir Putin. He I don't know if it was recently or not, but
jailed,
he and what is it? Panarin posted an Instagram picture with him, and I can't remember exactly what the caption was. It was a Russian caption that says essentially free Navalny, and I think that was one of the things that spurred these hit pieces. So
exactly.
It's unfortunate. And like Mitch said, a lot of people speculate that he's taken some time off, obviously mental health reasons, and to literally protect his family. That's
a big hit for the Rangers as well. That's a big hit for the franchise. And that's pretty awesome of them to be like, I have to worry about it. Back to 100%, go do their thing,
Yeah.
Scary.
Yeah, it's worth noting too, even because you never want to quickly dismiss an allegation like that, but it's worth even noting that the players that played with him at the time too, aside from Nazarov or the fucking coach's name, the players that were with him at the time, that were on the team, have even come out saying it's not true, right?
Right.
So or they had no awareness of it. So.
Yeah, is this the coach bringing this out, or is there a girl? Is there a girl who's
there's no victim? There's no victim account or anything.
Yeah, that's spicy.
This is spicy stuff.
It's very Red Army Soviet USSR
Definitely.
Soviet Union.
Man, I don't like it.
It's so weird. It's
For
so
now,
weird.
if I was him, I'd pack my own Gatorade, honestly.
Yeah.
Actually, it's funny you say that. I think Navalny was recently poisoned.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was, eh?
Wasn't Navalny? There was some supporters that were like I know there's some guys on like the UK that were like Russian, like secret service defectors, and they just got poisoned in broad daylight. Like one guy was like poisoned on a bench in UK, and he got found.
Well,
yeah.
You learn from the Jersey Tuck podcast. Pack your own Gatorade.
Pack your own Gatorade, man.
Boys.
Don't let anyone touch that shit.
Let's pivot to the Draymond Green press conference from a couple of days back. Can't remember exactly what game this was after, but essentially Draymond went off on what he would call a double standard for owners and players. Essentially, when one party is done with the other, when the player is done. So take the James Harden situation, for example. When James Harden really wants out of the franchise, or Anthony Davis, similar situation. And Harden, he didn't handle it the best way, but it was clear he didn't want to be there. He announced that he wanted to trade. Yeah. And he didn't get that months in. Houston was like, no, we're going to keep you. We're going to keep you. And he essentially played not to his fullest potential, to put it lightly. And Davis just straight up sat and, listed himself for knee soreness or calf soreness or stuff like that. Anyways, on the other side of things is the ownership. So one thing he compared it to, and I think the thing that started the conversation, was Andre Drummond in Cleveland right now. The ownership has said, we're done with you. We're ready to move you. Sit down and wait. So I'm just going to play a little clip that I isolated from that conference, and we'll discuss it.
At some point, as players, we need to be treated with the same respect and have the same rights that the team can have. Because as a player, you're the worst person in the world when you want a different situation. But a team can say they're trading you, and that man is to stay in shape. He is to stay professional, and if not, his career is on the line. At some point, this league has to protect the players from embarrassment like that.
There's the clip right there, and essentially, I think it starts an interesting conversation. Tyrell, did you see that press conference? Do you have any thoughts about it?
Yeah, I did. No, I think he makes like a good point, because honestly, during that James Harden thing, the public villainized James Harden, really. Like, I know, like, there's some people in his corner, but there was definitely a discussion whether or not it was like James, and but James voiced his opinion that he wanted it out of there, and I know he did sign a massive contract and all that. However, it was like 8 years with that team, and he wanted a respectful kind of change of scenery, but the team kind of held off. And then they even said, what was that quote? We're willing to get uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Which,
if
the player ever said that, they'd be gone so fast, and they'd be thrown under so many buses. Like, I feel like Draymond's right. There's definitely a double standard within how teams can act compared to players. And
go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'm done.
I'll just add, initially when I heard it when I read the article first, like, my first thoughts were, I guess the team is the employer. It's probably in your contract, and that was my initial thoughts of it, like, on ownership side. But the more and more I dug into it, like, Draymond has a point. Do you think he has a point, Josh?
I think so. The thing that makes this a little bit different, at least from, like, in my perspective, like, I don't usually have an issue with, because, like, there's both sides usually have, like, their motives, right? Like for the teams, it's usually a PR run. Like, they're going to try to come out of it looking a certain way, like general managers are trying to save their job and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
And then the player on the other end, like, they're using what leverage they have. So, like, that's their leverage, is like, if I want to, like Draymond said, to change the situation, this is what I got to do to get a move, right? What I don't like about this particular situation, the player in question, you're saying it was Drummond?
Andre Drummond.
Yeah, was that like the team didn't really like there wasn't much of a reason, at least as far as I know, but pretty much just said, hey, like sit at home.
Yeah, I think
we're gonna trade you.
I think it's arrive. You like sit on the bench because I'm pretty sure in the games up to this point he's in his street clothes. I think he's doing his warm ups, and then as the game starts, poor dude's dude gets crazy rebounds. He's
effective.
He's an incredible player. So he's a great player.
It's not like there's a go-to reason for why this has happened. It's not like there's off the court issues or whatnot. Like the closest comparable I could see, like even in the NHL, you never see something like this from players very seldomly. But this year, like was probably one of the first times that you've seen a player kind of leverage that leverage that they have, right? Like use that leverage was like Pierre-Luc Dubois this year. He was the first person to pretty much be like, he stopped playing. Like he's like, I want to change the situation. He did what essentially Harden did. He just kind of hot dogged it and gave up on the play.
He did a 20-minute shift and just skated off. He didn't even play defense. He just skated. I was there and he skated off. I don't even think he got called off for the shift. He just skated off.
Yeah. And so like in that situation, like I like to see that because I think it's fair for players to kind of exercise their leverage like that, right? Because the teams have all of it most of the time.
Yeah,
but I really don't like seeing teams bury players like that and like expect them to come out of it. You're just essentially ending the guy's career.
Absolutely.
For no reason.
I feel like we as the public hold players and teams like they should be held to the same standard, but we get so like emotionally attached to these players. Everything they do is like a slight on us.
It's true.
Where teams are just like showing. Not every team now, but like some teams, like I think in DeMarcus Cousins, I can't remember what team, if it was New Orleans, he found out he got traded mid-interview. Someone came up and whispered in his ear. And I'm like, that's so unfair, guys. Like send him a text or something. Like don't.
And Tyrell, I think that was his agent. That wasn't that wasn't anyone.
He found out on Twitter or something. Yeah.
Isn't that ridiculous? Like that's exactly what Draymond's getting at, the double standard. I find that ridiculous. Yeah. I was going to ask you, Fred or Mitch, like, do you see anyone comparable in the NHL? Do you see anyone doing that in the future? Who was it that just got traded? That seemed like it was going in that direction. I can't remember now. A big trade happened recently, but anyways, it's not as common. But I think, in closing, I do think Draymond has a point.
I think it was that Pierre-Luc Dubois and Patrick Laine one. Like that, both teams, or both players on either side, like they were both in that situation where they just didn't want to be where they were.
Yeah.
So it's more of an example of the player exercising that leverage, but you never see it, brought up the same way that we're bringing it up right now. Like I'm sure NHL teams do it all the time. If there's a certain player that's acting a certain way or whatever, like they just bury them, right? Careers get ended. There was just to kind of go off the topic a tiny bit, but still along the same lines. Like you see the kind of the same thing with in the past year with Akeem Alou, right? Like for him, it was rumblings of calling him was it a locker room cancer or whatnot, and issue in the locker room, problematic in the locker room. But honestly, like a lot of the issues just come from racism in the league, right?
And I think Draymond brought that exact kind of wording up, like. This is the first thing that people say if it's on the players' end. He's a locker room cancer. He's bad for the team. He doesn't fit in, that kind of thing. And I mean that takes a beating when you're in that situation too. And I guess for some players, it depends on your standing in the league, but that can take a hit on you for sure. I think so. Let's go back to the NHL for a little bit. There was a big beefcake of an article from The Athletic. Let's find out, Josh. Do you remember who it was written by?
God.
It'd be a shame if we didn't give him a shout out. I think it was
Katie Strang. It was Katie Strang. Katie Strang was the Athletic journalist that wrote the artiple.
Fantastic article. It was
investigative.
It was lovely. It was, like I said, big beefcake of an article. Make sure if you haven't checked it out, do yourself a favor. Even if you're not a hockey fan, it's a great article. If you like that juicy takedown piece,
that investigating.
Yeah, and honestly, it was a doozy because it uncovered a lot of things that were going on behind the scenes. And I can probably say, like, Mitch or Fred, like, you guys were probably familiar with this, just seeing like the news about the Arizona Coyotes over the last couple of years. Just the little things that happened in the news, you're like, that's weird. Oh, that's a little weird. Like the John Chayka stuff when he left the team, you're like, what the hell happened there? That's weird. The whole is it Mitch Miller? Mitchell Miller is the name of the player. I don't know. I can't remember off the top of my head.
I think that sounds right. I think so.
Fourth round pick, but he was accused, or not even confused. He was accused. He was convicted of bullying in high school a black developmentally disabled student.
Yeah.
So I'll give just a quick summary. What it is, essentially, the Coyotes got new ownership in 2019. The franchise is a dumpster fire, has been for a while. It's one of those franchises that really needs saving or just to get out of the league. And in 2019, it got new ownership. It was looking really good. Correct me if my pronunciation is off, Josh, but Alex Morello.
I think so.
And he's the new ownership, or he runs the ownership group that is in possession of the Coyotes right now, from 2019 on to now. And more stories come out that just show that he is completely incompetent and has done no research in terms of how to run a sports organization. He actually, in 2011, he put a bid for a majority stake in the Hawks for the NBA that fell through, and I feel like that should have been a warning sign, a red flag for the NHL. But I think they were really sold on the fact that he was going to be the first Hispanic majority owner, and which was really important for the market that he was in. Deep pockets, and it just looked really promising from the outside. But stories keep coming out. Their turnover is ridiculous.
It's insane.
And lots of bullying, sexual assault. It's the article is just pumped full of all these things that just really, it basically says we've gone nowhere since our new ownership. We've gone nowhere, competitively and in terms of staff and all that kind of stuff.
That team is taking steps backwards, because that team was starting to show promise.
It was looking good.
Yeah, because they were rough. I mean, Arizona's been rough for a while, but after a while, you start to develop. And if you're a rough team, you should draft eventually and start to stockpile.
Not if you keep losing them because of fines.
Yeah. But that organization keeps spinning its wheels.
Yeah,
I really would like to know the story regarding John Chayka, like how everything and what exactly went down there, because they kind of talked like Katie Strang kind of brought attention to it in the article, kind of saying that he seemed to make more of an effort to shield the rest of the staff from ownership a little bit more, or like kind of that culture that they were bringing along. Right. But as soon as he was gone, like it was almost blatantly obvious that there was a toxic environment from up above coming down, and it's insane. It's quite the article. And she's gotten a lot of threats since then. Like Bill Armstrong, the GM, has even threatened her. She mentioned it in the article, right?
Hey man, that's when you know you're a good reporter.
Yeah.
As soon as you start getting threats. One interesting part of the article: ownership once bragged about cutting cost of napkins in its other estates. So talk about running a sports franchise. If your main concern is cutting small ass costs, when you have these other colossal responsibilities, like mentioned in the article, like community relationships and all those long-term things, if that's something that you brag about, again, another red flag. And I remember when he first it says in the story, when he first put his bid in, essentially one of the things was, we're going to get a new arena, all this stuff that's like really really glamorous. And of course
he can't even pay the debt that he owns, essentially, on using the arena in Glendale right now. Or he hasn't. So.
And two other closing things that I found really just sad about the story. One of his statements I don't know. You guys might have seen it on NHL Twitter back in the day. One of his statements when he first got ownership of the franchise, he says, "Well, we sure as shit wanted to win." And apparently they made shirts. They made Coyote shirts that said "sure as shit wanted to win." Like that's not even catchy. That's stupid.
That's stupid.
At the end of the day with this, man, like I honestly don't see the Coyotes lasting very long. Like I think that franchise, like I think you said the big red flag was with the Hawks.
Yeah.
And then the fact that they were turned down, I think at the end of the day, this pretty much just shows how desperate the NHL was to get new ownership group.
Is there something like, say, like Bettman can do to like straighten this out? Like you would think like he could be able to be like, okay, guys, you have this much, this is your time frame, figure it out, or you're gonna have to sell. Like, you know what I mean?
Who knows? Maybe something like that's going on behind the scenes.
Maybe
we just don't know.
Go ahead.
I would say last thing Bettman wants is a relocation or to have to change things up. He's gonna want to fix that situation.
He's been doing that for the last decade, right?
Yeah.
Trying to keep the Coyotes there.
So I don't know. We'll see. I mean,
there's so much promise too, eh? Like think about it, they got Kemper. You know, they picked up Kessel. Yeah, he's a little bit old, but he's still scoring goals. And then you got all these young kids coming in.
They've always had cool jerseys.
Man, I like the jerseys. Yeah.
Do they have any fans though? Like, is there some hockey?
I don't know if it's as bad as Florida, but you know.
Yeah, you got me there.
Go ahead, Mitch.
I was gonna say the funny thing is of all the teams, like no one, most of them doesn't have aren't allowing fans in. Arizona is so.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Like, come in, we need something here.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, with each passing day, I'm getting less and less concerned about Austin Matthews going home to Arizona.
He is not going anywhere. It'll be like the Gretzky thing. We'll give you money. Like, let us have him.
Yeah, and just one more thing to close it off. Apparently, one of the things in the article said he would get mad at employees that would call him Alex instead of Mr. Morello. There you go. And he chalked these outbursts up as him being passionate. No, you're an
just
arsehole.
a dick. Yeah,
that's all there is to it. Sorry about that. This week the NBA All-Star starters were announced, were finalized. We're still waiting, I believe. Yes, we are on the reserves. We have our starters, and I believe for the most part, it's exactly what people expected, with the exception of one little thing for me.
Can I guess? Because I'm not so familiar. Can I guess?
Yeah, go for it.
Can I guess?
Yes.
Okay, I have to guess because I haven't been following all the teams really closely, even the Raptors like I usually would. I haven't been following this season like with a fucking magnifying lens or anything.
Right.
But I looked at the lineup and I just kind of think that the one that just doesn't belong, like one of these things is not like the other this year right now, is Kyrie Irving. Am I right or am I wrong? Like I don't know.
I think
he just seemed like he may have been thrown a bone a little bit being in the starting lineup. Has he been amazing to start the season?
I think he's there to a large degree. It's funny that he gets that amount of fan votes. So I think that helped him a lot. Obviously, I am surprised that his fan vote was way above everyone else. He does deserve to be there, but I think a lot of him being there is attributed to the Nets' success.
Yeah, like when I look at how the season has gone so far, any news with Kyrie Irving, it's always just like drama.
Yeah,
it's always like how he disappeared for a certain amount of time, or he's not playing, or you know what I mean. So
he's become more and more of a controversial
weird dude
figure.
Talking about how he believes that the Earth is flat.
So start with the West, Josh. Who do you got in the West?
Is it just
do you want me to read them out for you? I can do that.
No, I want to see if Josh wants to guess.
Oh, guess who's playing?
Yeah, do you know who they are?
Oh, I think so. Like it's like I know LeBron's captain in the team, the West. You got Kawhi.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to remember now. I gotta divvy up the teams on each side. I think you got Jokic and Doncic, right?
Oh, of course.
Yeah. Two of the itches.
And you're missing a 3-point
Dynamo.
Dynamo, yeah.
It's gonna make you mad when I don't get them.
Who's the best shooter of all time?
He's the best shooter of all time.
Lou Williams. No.
There you go. Hey, Sweet Lou is it's gonna put you in pain, Josh.
Why am I?
It's not Klay Thompson, but
Oh, it's a Steph Curry.
Steph Curry.
Of course. And for some reason, I forgot all about Steph Curry because of like the lost year last year.
Yeah, exactly. He's been kind of like, well, this year he's been fantastic, but yeah, the Warriors. It's kind of funny the position that they're in. And in the East, we have Kyrie Irving, as you said, Bradley Beal, who's going off this season. Really cool for him to get the start or not there.
Leading in points, man.
Kevin Durant, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Joel Embiid. Tyrell, you have any issues with that? Any of those lineups?
I think it's really good, except every year we have the same talk. It's where's Damian Lillard?
Yeah.
Every year, 30 points a game. They're in like what, 4th place? I want to say they're just same thing. And now we got like no disrespect to Steph and no disrespect to Doncic, but I feel like Lillard should have got the start over one of those two guys. I feel like Doncic should have got the boot, but. Because like none of those, like what they're in 8th and 9th, I think, respectively.
Yeah, the Mavs aren't playing up to their expectations.
Yeah, and Lillard's shooting something like 60% on like game winners this season or something. Like it's
there is not a more clutch player. I'm not sure. Hey, Aaron Rodgers might be there, but in any sport that compares to Damian Lillard, it's unreal. And he's done it. I'm pretty sure 2 times in the past 2 weeks, won games in the clutch. And he just keeps doing it, and it's crazy. Like you said, it seems like he just keeps getting snubbed, but this year it seems to be more painful than most because I really do think he deserved the nod over Doncic. Love Doncic.
It's averaging like 30 and 12, I'm pretty sure. Something like that.
And like Doncic is a great player. I'm looking at the standings here now. Is this right? The Mavs are in 9th?
Yeah. No, they've been bad. Bad. They might trade Porzingis, honestly. I think he's rumored to be on the block.
Yeah, I saw that. Guys, the Mavs are under 500. And guess what? The Raps are back over 500.
Yeah, man, they've been on fire.
Yeah.
That's Fred VanVleet and Siakam showing back up again.
That's nice.
Not Kyle Lowry. He hasn't been.
Not Kyle Lowry, yeah.
Yeah, because they have a winning record. They have a winning record without Lowry.
Yep.
Isn't that crazy?
I think they're 6.
I think he's getting traded
without him. Sorry.
I think he's getting traded.
You think so?
Yeah, but here, just to defend my point on Kyrie Irving, he's not even the second best player on his team, let alone.
Yeah.
I just want. Yeah, not even on his team. Like I don't know.
Who was it that I think it was? It was interesting to hear it because like you think he'd be the kind of guy that says the opposite. Was it Kyrie that said Harden is the guard of this team?
Point guard, yeah.
Like I feel like that's the kind of thing that's in the NBA that's just kind of like kind of meaningless, but it's just like the media is obsessed with. It's like whose team is it? Who's the guard? Who's the leader? Blah blah blah. Like all these informalities, but yeah, I think Kyrie actually said Harden is the point guard of this team, which is really cool. Harden's finally getting the recognition he deserves. It's really stupid as a Houston sports fan because all he got here was hate and how his style is ugly as hell. And of course he's in Brooklyn now, and it's like, oh my God, he's John Stockton level passer. It's like he always was.
Yeah, even in 2011 when he came, he was amazing at passing. Like
yeah, always was, and it's just funny to me how that kind of thing changes just from him switching teams. And I would have thought they'd keep the hate on because of how he approached the season with the Rockets. I just found it kind of weird.
No respect.
Guys, how about some of the NFL guys hosting Jeopardy?
Okay, so I made a point of this on the pre-show notes. More so just talking about, like, this is kind of more of a minor note in relation to all the things that we've talked about thus far, but it's just the revolving carousel of quarterbacks this year so far, like going into the offseason.
Yeah,
we've already seen some big changes, right? There was the Carson Wentz trade, which is a bit more minor, but he's going to be starting in Indianapolis. But the biggest one is the Goff for Stafford one, which is huge.
Yeah,
that's a huge trade because now it wasn't just Goff for Stafford; it was Goff plus like a couple picks, I believe. But Stafford is going to shred for the Rams. Like he's going to be insane because he's always been on a team in Detroit that he's pretty much willed them to win whenever he could. The rest of the team has been pretty much garbage.
Right.
So now, like, so it's just interesting to see, and I think we kind of touched on this not maybe last week. I'm not sure the week before, but the other potential quarterbacks to be on the move, and I know Deshaun Watson, your boy, is rumored to be there, but we'll see if they can keep him, man. Like, I don't know. It's but it seems to be one of those things where a lot of the quarterbacks are on the move this year. Like, they're moving around, except for Drew Brees. He's gonna play until he's 80.
Did I hear Drew Brees retired after this season,
No,
this is his last season, or
playing
could be way
again.
off? Yeah,
He's dialing it back.
He's like Brett Favre, right? He's like, I'm good. This is the last year. No, I'm gonna do one more year.
I saw someone.
At least he's sticking to one team.
Yeah,
exactly. I saw, like, right when he said, like, he announced that he's coming back again, someone, like, posted a GIF. It was just like some 80-year-old running with the ball. But but I saw that in the news today. I just had a little laugh at it. Like, our guest Jeopardy host this year, I think it's going to be in, I don't remember when it is. It's in a couple months, but it'll be for like 8 episodes. It'll be Aaron Rodgers.
Mitch, can you picture Aaron Rodgers coming out Alex Trebek style, or even like, what is it? Has he hosted that show since the 80s? I'm gonna say yes.
Yeah.
In whatever era they had those stupid little stick microphones. Like, the classic talk show microphones. Can you see Aaron Rodgers coming up with one of those, but not in a nice fancy suit, in his Canadian tuxedo with his handlebar mustache?
Yeah.
I'd watch that.
That would almost be the best ode to Alex Trebek, right? to come out in a Canadian tuxedo. Come on.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I love that.
Hey, I'm honestly surprised that Jeopardy's still going, but then again, I'm not. Great television, great Netflix. Let's move to a new segment that we're going to bring to the show, which we're going to call, for now, the Jersey Talk Pick It and Roll.
I like it. I personally like the name.
Each week we present some big topics amongst ourselves to talk about, which are usually, it's all the stuff that we talked about so far, but we also put in little tidbits. In the previous weeks, we've talked about the Beal and the Butler hug. I think last week we talked about Jimmy Butler and his flops and his weird, fake play flop. But stuff like that. Just brief stuff that we want to just cover, laugh about, and move on. Not necessarily go in depth about it. But what I'll do is I'll mention it. If someone wants to speak up about it, you pick it and you roll with it.
You roll with it.
So I'll start reading them off. This week, I think it was last night, the Lakers broadcast puts Isaiah Thomas in the Wizards lineup graphic for Russell Westbrook. Is that ridiculous or is it not?
Of course it's ridiculous.
They had to have done that on purpose.
Yeah, it's a bit weird. I will say, I would assume any broadcast team you would believe to be competent across the league would be a treasured franchise like the Lakers.
I think it's understandable. I mean, they're both relatively unknown players. How could you not know?
Really,
plugs,
though,
right?
I think that's what gets me. Is like, it's not like a deep bench guy or a draft prospect or anything like that. It's too. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think Isaiah Thomas was an all-star.
Yeah,
he was.
So bit of a freak up there, and he's there in his Wizards uniform. That's Russell Westbrook.
I really hope that like it was just a troll job.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Yeah.
Hey, shout out to IT. He was a fantastic Celtic. Loved him on the Celtics. Did anyone see Steve Ballmer? Who was he distracting with the free throw? Was it DeAndre Jordan?
Yeah.
Flailing his arms everywhere.
Not only his arms, his
aggressively
legs.
clapping.
And his feet.
What is that? Like, it's so funny. Like, he's getting riled up. Not even with a big crowd. He's not riling up a crowd. He's riling up himself.
There's no one there.
And we're there.
If you haven't seen it, it's well worth looking up. He's under the basket, right in DeAndre's field of view.
Yeah.
Steve Ballmer had a seizure in a chair.
There you go. That's what it was. Let's go back a few weeks ago. Christian Wood was when they were rolling and on their win streak. He was being interviewed by Shaq on TNT, and he called Shaq a casual to his face. Shaq said, I'm relatively unfamiliar with your game, and he's like, oh man, you a casual. Anyone want to speak up about that? I loved it as a Rockets fan.
I think like Shaq's starting to garner a bit of a reputation with other players now. Like they're not taking it so seriously after the whole was it Donovan Mitchell thing?
Yeah.
The Mitchell thing and like the whole Siakam thing too. Like I don't know his name. I just know Siakam. Like you didn't know.
And that was the next thing I was going to bring up. It's the same. It's the same deal. It was on TNT, like Josh said. Essentially, was it Kenny? I think it was Ernie that said I was talking about, or you're talking about Pascal, and he was like, no, I was talking about Siakam. It's like it's the same dude.
Everyone's like, his name is Pascal Siakam. He's like, I don't know his first name. I think if you're on a panel like that and people are talking about Siakam being like a superstar, you should get the guy's damn name right.
Yeah, you should know who he is.
He was a big part of the Raptors. Like, yeah, you can talk about Kawhi all you want. Like, Siakam was freaking huge for that series, man. Like, how dare him not know who his name is?
They don't win the championship. Yeah, they don't win the championship without Siakam.
No,
Pascal.
Yeah.
No, and that's part of the reason why he has that big dirty contract. Like, I found.
I don't know what this whole Shaq thing is going on, right? Like, it's sort of annoying, actually.
Yeah.
Why do you talk down to like these are superstars? They're in the NBA. They're good. He's like, I didn't even recognize who you were, and all. Like, who cares? You're not Shaq and Kobe. Like,
he's
he
too
puts
comfy,
himself
dude.
so high on a pedestal, and it's so frustrating.
He might be turning into old man yells at cloud.
I just think of all stars too. Shaq's probably the last person trying to coach young players. Like what are you supposed to be coaching guys? Like you were known for not having a great work ethic.
Yeah.
And,
Good point.
And you're literally like, what are you going to teach the guys? Like, oh, you should be big in the paint like me.
What's your average or your career average in free throws again? I can't remember. Let me look that up.
I think you need to grow.
Sorry, Shaq, man, but seriously,
he's like trying to troll in his own weird way.
Yeah, he's a weird dude too. He's one of those guys. I think his humor kind of goes over a lot of people's heads sometimes, and you can't tell when he is and isn't joking around.
Yeah, one of those classic.
I understand too. He's trying to use it as a motivation, like. Why do you think these NBA players are looking to you for that motivation? Why would that be their motivation? I don't understand. If Jordan it was like, hey, man, like, you should really work on your fucking fadeaway. You probably should. Yeah. If he's like, I never recognized you. I'm like, oh, okay, Shaq, well, I'm not the fucking host.
And that's why I think for me, the whole Christian Wood thing, him calling him out as a casual, like, I love that.
Yeah, I do too. I love it.
And I'm not even sure if we discussed this before. Christian Wood was drafted into the league, no, he went undrafted. I think yes, he did. He went undrafted, and his girlfriend broke up with him after he went undrafted. After draft night, she never texted him again. Eventually, he got back into the league, got cut, got back in the league, got cut again. Now he gets back with the Rockets. Rockets pick him up on he had a nice year with Detroit, but then the Rockets were like, hey man, I see big potential with this guy. Now he's basically their future star. So it's really cool to see a guy like that.
It's a wicked story to see. Yeah,
it's awesome. That's why I just I want to see that guy keep succeeding. And it's funny with that Siakam story too, because it's the same thing with the if it is incompetence, the Isaiah Thomas story. Siakam's an all-star. Why don't you know who he is?
He had to have been trolling, like trying to troll. Like, I don't think he. But again, I don't know. Shaq's a weird dude.
He's trying hard. He's running late hours, fucking slinging those printer commercials.
He does a lot of weird ad spots, doesn't he?
I don't. It's so weird. Like, why is Shaq trying to sell me a printer?
Yeah, the Icy Hot's a classic one.
Icy Hot's like kind of sense, like athlete-wise, but like. Shaq talking to me about how, this is forget all the cartridges. These inks last a lot longer on this printer. It's like, all right, cool.
I'm gonna go out and buy one right now.
This is a little off topic, but a interview with Kobe resurfaced like within the past couple days of him saying that if Shaq had hit his work ethic, he'd be the greatest of all time. Like, what do you guys think of that? I don't know.
People always attribute the trait dominant to Shaq. Whenever you hear Shaq, the adjective is always dominant, and he really was. But the more, like, if I think about his work ethic, like that's a big thing to change. Like if you look at guys like Kevin Love and other centers that really put the work in to change their game when it started shifting towards spreading the floor and shooting and stuff like that, it's a lot of work. If he put the work in and like didn't party as much and stuff like that, perhaps maybe it's hard to say. I mean, he has a lot of rings to his name, and maybe he would have won more if he kept himself in shape, or got some people to go to Orlando with him. It's really hard to say, but I think I guess saying putting the work in is just straying too much away from Shaq's character to me. I just can't visualize it, I guess.
Yeah.
I was just thinking of Dennis Rodman when you said that.
I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking the exact same thing.
That guy went out partying all night and still took down fucking 25 rebounds a game. Like, whatever.
He was a worker, man, when he was playing, right?
Yeah. Imagine if he wasn't drinking and everything and he was just like,
man.
Watch out. Watch out, ladies.
Hey, we'll call it there. Great pod. Lots of good stuff. New segment, and I gotta just play this stinger one more time, guys, because get pumped for that new content on this channel.
I love it.
Ooh, crack that pack.
Crack that pack.
Hey, if you want to mail us a pack to crack, give us a tweet. Give us all your packs. No matter how much you spend on them, it's cool. We'll make it worth your while.
We'll crack it, no matter what. No matter what kind of pack.
Hey, maybe next time we'll crack that pack live. Who knows? And we'll discuss the crack.
I just actually bought a box of 15-16 Upper Deck Champs.
Let's crack that pack.
It's time.
So it's that's Connor McDavid's rookie year. So hopefully get something out of it. But it's a very weird brand too. So keep an eye out for that. I put some more explanation behind it, but there's some weird stuff that can come out of that line of cards.
That's gonna be some very nice content there.
Love it.
And more stuff to come. Who knows? Just make sure you follow that YouTube channel. Follow us on Spotify. Spotify is where you get the best audio all the time for our podcast. Watch the video pod if you want to catch up on it. And follow us on Twitter when you want to see us go live, or if you want to send us some hot packs. We're gonna call it that, or we're gonna call it there for this week. Any closing thoughts, boys?
I got go Habs go. Come on, boys. We need to
last week it was go Leafs go.
Mike Babcock is a bad guy.
Mike Babcock is a bad cock.
Bad guy.
I hope Houston can win a game sometime soon.
Yeah, I'm going to join in with you on that closing sentiment for sure. All right, really appreciate everyone watching, and we will catch you next week. Thanks for tuning in.
Peace.
Peace.
Whee!